Just a few days back, we were talking about that how the El Nino is the strongest we have ever seen, and this is going to delete the expectations we have from the monsoon. That means bigger the El Nino, smaller the rainfall, but this has changed. What we are seeing in front of us is Indian skies filled with clouds. So does that mean El Nino has gone, or there is something else that we need to know about? Hello everyone, welcome to Vajiram and Ravi's Flash News. My name is Shubhangi Singh, and in today's session we are going to address in detail that what exactly changed between last few days and today, that when we were looking at El Nino changing and not bringing in rainfall that we were expecting in terms of the usual rainfall, and what has happened now. So when we are looking at this situation, the first thing, let us understand the paradox which is unfolding. So when we were talking about the El Nino, not just the usual El Nino, we were talking about a Godzilla El Niño. That means the effects of El Nino are going to be extremely strong. Now, before I get into the details that what exactly is El Nino, because that also becomes a very important part of understanding, let me just give you a brief. Whenever there will be the situation of El Nino, the phenomena of El Nino, what we will see is a deficit monsoon in our country. And when we are seeing a very strong form of El Nino, furthermore deficit in terms of rainfall in monsoon. But what we are seeing in our country, that Indian skies are as of now covered with clouds and more are to be seen. Now, what I said as a phenomena, that El Nino means lesser rainfall and stronger El Nino means further lesser rainfall. But what I am saying now, that should not match, but it is matching, and that is the exact paradox that we are talking about. We were expecting a weak Indian summer monsoon, but as of now what we are seeing, that 95% of Indian sky were under cloud cover. Now the question is, what does exactly this mean? So for this we have to understand two very simple terms first. The first term is climate. The second word here is weather. Now when we are talking about both of these terms, the broad difference, even if we don't get into the definition in something, we have to understand the weather phenomena that has existed, persisted for 15 years or more is the climate of that place. For example, if we talk about climate of India, how will you define that? But when we are talking about weather, we are referring to the exact day's situation. What is the humidity looking like, how much is the precipitation, what is the temperature and more. So if we are talking about climate, it can be hot and humid, but when we are talking about weather, it is something that is variable across the days. And this situation, what we are seeing, the paradox, it means that yes, the climatic situations do show the presence of El Nino, but as of now, the weather phenomena, especially when we are talking about weather, the local weather phenomena, they have dominated this El Nino, and that is why this is present in front of us. But now we need to know what are these local phenomena. So let us try to break all of this down. First, we will start with understanding El Nino, how it usually affects Indian monsoon. So when we are talking about the situation of El Nino, we have to understand what we are referring to is the warming of waters in the Pacific Ocean. But how does that materialize? So imagine a normal year. In that normal year, when we are looking at southern Pacific Ocean, it is the western side where we see presence of warm water. Now how does this happen? It is because of the trade winds which gather the warm water pool on the western side. This is the normal year. In the El Nino year, something opposite happens. This is when the trade winds, the easterly winds, they weaken, and the warm water which is being pushed here, it is not being pushed anymore. So warm water is present where? On the eastern side. Now this is El Nino. You have understood how this is the El Nino year we are talking about. This El Nino year brings warmer winters on this end, and it ends up with dry deficit monsoon on this end. We are talking about Asian region here. Now we have understood. The second phenomena that we have to add right here is understanding that how it affects the water circulation as well. Now when we are talking about water circulation, just imagine it as a belt of air which is circulating in a vertical plane at the equator. Now when the trade winds were normal and warm water was moving here, then this vertical air will form this movement. But when the warm water is not moving here, then the convection which was happening here will not happen. It will start happening where the warm water has moved. In the El Nino year, we are seeing the warm water has moved on the eastern side. So convection will start happening here. That means if the convection is not happening on this side, what it will lead to? It will lead to two things. First, we will see desiccating air. The air is coming down. That means lesser cloud formation, because cloud formation only will take place when air is going up through convection and moistures are made, and then condensation and then precipitation takes place. But in this situation, this area, Asia, India, left behind. So deficit monsoon. So this is what we were expecting in the El Nino year, because of El Nino, that as of now, the region, when we are talking about region, specifically our country, it is going to see deficit monsoon. So first I have clarified the climate part. Now let us try to see that what are the factors which are stopping this to happen. If it is not an El Nino year, then we see normal monsoon. If it is a La Nina year, opposite of this, that is when we see stronger monsoon and stronger winters. Last year we saw La Nina. Now when we are looking at why India was so cloudy this week, we have to, as I said in the starting, understand that it was the local weather systems which have dominated over the climatic patterns. Now what are these weather systems that we are talking about? Now there are three major weather systems that we are going to talk about. The first one being the Monsoon Trough. The second one being pressure systems, local pressure systems. And the third one, I will leave you to guess, but I will be discussing just after this. So let me know in the comment section a bigger weather, local weather pattern that is usually seen in the Indian Ocean region. I am giving you a hint, and the name also starts with Indian Ocean. Let me know in the comment section. Now let us talk about both of these first. Now first, starting with Monsoon Trough. What is exactly Monsoon Trough? When we are talking about Monsoon Trough, it is a low pressure belt. Now when you see this belt here, now as I said, this is a low pressure belt. It is situated usually in northern India right here. Now whenever we are talking about presence of low pressure, what it will facilitate? It will facilitate the movement of winds from high pressure to low pressure. And if the winds are coming from here and here, they will be moisture laden. So as of now, the first local weather phenomena which is right in its place and it is dominating is the presence of monsoon trough in the normal position. Now whenever monsoon trough is in the normal position, it supports transportation of moisture. It revives monsoon activity. If you remember, last 1 week we have seen very limited monsoon activity, and it produces widespread rain. Now the second thing that I am going to talk about is the pressure systems. Now when we are talking about pressure system, the major pressure system that we are seeing present in our country is the low pressure system. Now whenever we are looking at low pressure, it is directly related to high surface temperature. Wherever the temperature of the surface will be higher, low pressure would be formed there, and it is also further contributed, supplemented by abundant moisture. Now this is something combined can trigger widespread rainfall even after El Nino, because as a combined force, there will be more convection, there will be more formation of cloud and more precipitation. Now these two major systems I have told you. Let us move to the third one. The third and the major contributor here is the Indian Ocean Dipole. Now this is the one which is changing the game for us as a coming balancer for the climate factor. Those two were local weather systems. This is a climate factor. Now in this, what is Indian Ocean Dipole? Indian Ocean Dipole is that one part of Indian Ocean, the eastern side, is of different temperature. The other side of Indian Ocean is of different temperature. That is why the word dipole. So what do we see in the usual situation is that the Western Indian Ocean has a different temperature. That means we are talking on the Africa side, and the Eastern Indian Ocean, the one on Indonesia side, has a different temperature. Now because of this, we see repercussions, but this can be variable. How it can be variable? For example, we are talking about a positive phase. What is a positive phase? Where the western side is hotter, where the eastern side is comparatively cooler. What will happen? Hotter side will see lower pressure, the movement of wind from here, then we see increased convection, cloud formation and rainfall. Right? There will be a neutral phase where we are seeing that there is no influence, no extreme difference in temperature, and then we have a negative phase in which Indian Ocean Dipole is present because the Indonesia side is warmer, the African side is cooler, the movement of wind is from high pressure to low pressure, increased convection towards the Indonesian side. So as a result, if we are looking at positive IOD, that means the positive phase Indian Ocean Dipole, in that scenario, African side has higher temperature. It can aid what? The monsoon winds. If you remember, the movement of monsoon winds is right from here, summer monsoon. And if this is warmer, more convection is happening here, cloud formation, the movement of winds can be facilitated right towards our land. Now this is where the combination of two big weather systems and one climate balancer has changed the effect of El Niño for us. But another question rises here. Is this permanent? That means El Niño will not have any effect. We don't need to worry about food productivity. We don't need to worry about water security and other factors that we were worrying. No, you still need to. Big is, I just explained in the starting, weather short term, climate long term, and this is something that we are seeing today. Maybe we'll see tomorrow or maybe not. All these factors combining together are giving results today. They might not give it tomorrow. Now this is something exactly like how it happened in 1997, where the El Niño conditions were expected, but the local weather systems facilitated in offsetting the impact of El Niño conditions. So this leaves us with a direct and clear takeaway to the fact that yes, climate conditions do set the background condition, but the regional weather system, the local weather systems and other climatic phenomena, they might be determining what the weather will look like. So even during the strongest El Niño that we were expecting, we have seen a respite and we have to thank the local weather systems for that. Now what are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comment section. I'll be leaving you here with a very simple, direct prelims practice question which is directly from what I have taught. So I'm expecting all of you to answer it. Let me know the answer to this in the comment section. That was all from my side. Thank you so much.